I think it's imperative that you ask lots of questions. And for me, it's vitally important that you do your research.
You're listening to the Care Podcast, brought to you by Unique Senior Care. We're here to share honest, practical conversations to help you navigate care. And in these episodes, we're welcoming Lucy, our Director of People. Lucy has a wealth of experience in the care industry, specifically around people management, finding, recruiting and training the right carers for outstanding care. Thank you so much for joining us, Lucy.
Hi, Jo. Thank you for having me.
So we're thinking today about what makes someone feel safe when they have a carer visiting them in their home. What do you think are the most important behaviours that a carer can exhibit?
Yeah, and firstly, safety is so important because we have to remember that we are, effectively a stranger going into a client's home. So for me, safety is paramount, and I think to build that safe environment, one of the most important things is communication. So every time I go in and say hello to our new colleagues who are joining the company, we talk about communication and the importance of it. So you need to build trust with your clients, and how do you do that? Mostly you do that by communicating and you're talking them through what you're going to do, you keep them involved, and always make sure that you do what you say you're going to do. Don't overpromise and under-deliver is a very good phrase. And the involvement is really important. So you've got to build trust from day one. There's something about going in with a nice, kind of like happy disposition, but also just be mindful that somebody does need care. They might be particularly anxious. They might come to us sometimes at a crisis. So it can sometimes be really difficult, but trust is absolute paramount. So yeah, communication, support, and being a really good sounding board and a listening ear for what our clients are telling us. And that might be verbal communication, but also importantly, I'd look out for non-verbal communication as well. So every time you step over the threshold of the door, kind of looking at the client, top to toe, what are they telling you? But equally, what aren't they telling you? Because quite rightly, everybody does. Their moods are going to ebb and flow. But yeah, to remember that we are there to provide that safe environment for them and enable them to live at home, which is really important.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, isn't it? About the noticing the things that aren't said,
Yes,
because part of being a good caregiver is about trying to step into the shoes of that person and maybe notice those little clues that they're feeling uncomfortable or there's a need that they have. So what would you say are some good kind of behaviours that a carer could kind of use to pick up on those smaller things?
Yeah, so I think it's asking questions. Asking questions is really important. It's making sure that you're fully involved. So, you've spoken to the client, you've read the care plan, maybe spoken to family members or friends as well. And I think it's just to make sure, like I say, that you do as you say you're going to do. And it's caring. Like we can give you every skill that you need, but we can't give you that caring nature and that heart and that desire to want to make a difference to somebody's life. And I think it's being realistic as well. So it's not just the big things. You're not going to go in there and revolutionise and change somebody's life overnight, but it's a small incremental tasks, the conversations, the making the tea how they like it, cook their favourite meal, getting the flowers ready, reading the newspaper to them. Sometimes it's the small incremental things that we do for clients that actually would make the biggest difference.
Yeah. And by kind of doing things step by step, that probably builds the trust itself, doesn't it? Rather than going in and trying to
don't rush.
Change
so
everything.
We would say absolutely. The minimum calls that we do in our community is an hour. We do that for a reason. Sorry, it's really important that we don't rush because again, somebody might be quite anxious. You might be the first person that's come into their home who hasn't been a family or a friend. So making sure that you, like I say, you empathise with them. So you might not have experienced what they're experiencing, but you can empathise, put yourself in their shoes, and say just be adaptive. I think one of the biggest things that we'd say is be agile as well. So you're going to go in, you don't know what you're going to expect. It's just going in, being agile on the day, but absolutely don't rush. These are generally older individuals who might be used to kind of living at a slightly slower pace. It's having that quality time, so it's quality over quantity is really important.
Yeah, definitely taking time.
Yeah.
And I think when you take time, you're more likely to notice those signs and
get to know
how
Yep.
your client communicates or what's important to them.
Yeah. What's not in the care plan? What's their favourite TV show, their favourite restaurant? Do they like Sudoku? I'm thinking of my 85-year-old mum. We always do the mum test here. When we're having conversations, it's thinking about, what would, through their lens, what's important, but making sure that you ask them as well.
So tell us a little bit more about what you mean by the mum test.
So my department, so we oversee recruitment, training and development. So again, I'm talking about my mum. One day, she's going to be a client. So it's making sure that everybody that, joins Unique Senior Care, we would have them care for our mum, we call it, or our family member. So really important they pass the mum test.
Yeah.
And often it's the softer skills. So it's that caring nature. It is that empathy. It's the ability to build trust and compassion and be professional in what can be difficult times. So having all of that enveloped into somebody's skills is really important. And that for me would pass the mum test.
Yeah. And I guess, there's no higher standard, is there, than what you would want for your own loved one. So if we set that standard and we're then looking at each person, actually, would I let this person into that position of trust in a relative's home or to do that really important work?
Yeah.
And that's the kind of gold standard, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we just say, to the recruiters, unequivocally, we don't, lower standards. It's really important that people have got, the skills and experience, training qualifications that we're looking for. And if they don't have the qualifications, then we can support people.
What would be your one piece of advice to somebody that's out there looking for care for a relative or a loved one, in terms of knowing that they've got that right person or that right company in place to build trust?
I think it's imperative that you ask lots of questions. And for me, it's vitally important that you do your research. And we would fully expect people to do that when they call Unique Senior Care as well. That way you can make a really informed decision. And sometimes you've got to go with your gut. Yeah. You'll get that feeling when you speak to somebody on the phone. You'll make that connection. You might go to the office. I think that's really important. And as I say, make an informed decision, asking lots of questions, being very thorough. So looking at CQC reports, looking at, home care reviews. So it's all about authenticity, not just me saying Unique Senior Care is the best, but actually what have other family members and clients said about the care that they received from Unique.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice. Balancing that research and getting the information with actually that gut feeling.
It is,
because
absolutely.
That will tell you if something's not right, and it can also tell you if something is the right fit.
Because you're connecting with people, isn't it? So Unique Senior Care is a name, but actually it's the people who are the company, and the caregivers are paramount. They're the heartbeat of the company.
Great. Thank you so much, Lucy.
Thank you.
Thank you to everyone for listening. We hope that this episode has given you some confidence, practical advice and reassurance about navigating your own care journey. I've been Jo Cleary, host of the Care Podcast. We hope that you'll join us next time.